Welcome to In the Cut, the show that gets you up close and personal with BN and our community. And now, here is your host, Kevon Cameron.
It's crazy how that intro has grown on me. Welcome to In the Cut, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Kevon Cameron. I am the host of In the Cut. This show is the show that gets you up close and personal with BN and all its community happenings. I am the lead organizer of the BlackNonbelievers New York City affiliate. This show is a production of BlackNonbelievers, which is a 501c3 organization headquartered in the Atlanta area. We connect Black with and others who are living free of religion and might otherwise be shunned by their family and friends by providing a caring, friendly, and informative community. Instead of accepting dogma, we determine truth and morality through reason and evidence. The mission of BlackNonbelievers, of course, is to provide secular fellowship, to nurture and support non-believers in coming out, encourage pride in non-religious identities, educate the public on the history and current state of non-belief in the Black community, and of course, organize events for charitable causes. BlackNonbelievers welcomes all, regardless of age, gender identity, sexual identity, national origin, racial identity. However, our content and our work prioritizes Black non-religious voices. And I'd like to welcome the founder and president of BlackNonbelievers, Mandisa Thomas. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Kevon? Everything is great. I am excited because we are now 2 weeks away from the Women of Color Beyond Belief Conference. I just received the programs in the mail. And for those who have registered to stream online and also who have purchased T-shirts as a result, you will receive a copy of the program, courtesy of your as a thank you for your support for the event. And we also have Tina backstage. Tina, wave if you'd like me to add you. You can definitely. Tina is over our Charlotte affiliate, so it's like a family affair. And thank you as well to LaTanya from our Portland affiliate, who is helping with YouTube and the other moderation. And I am really excited again because not just for the conference and everything else that's coming up, but the second round of ads and billboards for the Freedom from Religion Foundation has debuted today for Constitution Day. And they will be also running ads in Sunday papers across the country. And I will actually be representing for Jackson, Mississippi. We couldn't find anyone to fill that slot, so they'll be running an ad in the Sunday paper with my picture. And shout out to Joe Mills, our buddy in New Orleans, for representing for the Louisiana billboard and newspaper ads, because one of the things was that it was very important for everyone to see that like everyday folks were representing for this campaign. And I really appreciate those BN members and folks who stepped up to do it. FFRF, of course, has launched their press releases, which we will share in the chat about the billboards and ads, so that if you want to see if there's one in your city, you can do that. Please take a picture by it. It is the I'm Secular and I Vote campaign. Actually, the billboard in Atlanta with me on it is still up, but someone decided to try to do something creative to it and ended up defacing it in some way. They actually matched they matched the blue, which was so damn weird. But I'm glad that it was only supposed to be up for a month, and now we're on like almost 2.5, which was great. So, and that's the good thing about printed billboards, is that sometimes you can get extra ad time as a result. So things have just been really, really, I said they've been hectic, but great. And I am so glad to see everyone tuning in. And thank you, Tina, for joining us today. Can you mind telling folks what you've been up to lately? Oops, sorry, I think
Oh,
let
there
me.
we
There
go.
you go.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Just the usual. I'm out in the street doing clinic work. Certainly, Black Non-Believers of Charlotte. Actually, we're all getting together tomorrow to go see The Woman King. Can't wait to see it. Absolutely cannot wait.
Awesome, awesome. And for those who might be watching and who are on in the Charlotte affiliate, please go join up with that. Go join up with them. That should be very exciting.
Yes, yes, yes. And also getting ready to go to Chicago. It's my favorite conference in all of the secular world.
Yes, awesome. That is good to know. Yes, we put on an amazing event. We really
Yes,
do.
it is. It
And
really is.
you hear from some very, very powerful women, and and also we're going to talk later about the service project that we will be doing in conjunction with the conference, along with Go Humanity. So, if you will be joining us in person, we hope you stay for that project. It's a meal packing service project where which will be benefiting thousands of folks in the Chicago area. And if you are unable to attend in person, but you would still like to support, we will definitely tell you how to do that later on in the show. And also, we have links to share how you can support. So, thank you both. Thank you, Kevon, and thank you, Tina, for continuing to do the work that you do with BN. I certainly couldn't do this without y'all. And it's always great when we're able to also work together, but also feature people in our community, folks who are coming up, folks who've never heard before, would be good for you to follow their content as well as support their work. So I'm very, very glad that we're doing this. And thank you once again to everyone for tuning in.
Yeah. The thing I really love about this show is I get to see you guys more regularly, because outside of the conferences, I hardly ever get to see you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we will be doing the cruise, so that's also great. Looking forward to that. And we will also share at the end of the show, if you are still interested in going, then there's still an opportunity for that. So with that, I will definitely turn it over to Kevon, and we'll get the show started with our
Thanks,
special
Mandisa.
guest.
Thanks, Mandisa. Thanks, Tina. All right. Now I'd like to welcome our very special guest for the show today, Joseph Campbell. Joseph is the host of the Virtue Reality podcast, which covers a wide range of different topics. Welcome to the show, Joseph. What's going on? Oh, can't hear you, Joseph.
Hello, how are you doing, everyone?
There we go. There we go. So I want to start it off the same way we start off with all of our guests. We want to get a little bit about your background. I want to ask you to tell us about yourself and your journey with religion.
We'll just kind of give you a quick sort of beginning about myself right now. I live in Las Vegas. I'm from Maryland originally, Baltimore, Maryland. So I grew up in the city.
Okay.
Moved to LA, went to film school. I went to college in Maryland, schooling through Maryland, moved to LA, and then did film school in LA. Moved back home, and then moved here to Las Vegas. Just to give you a little gist of like where I'm now. But essentially, my life through religion started as a Baptist at a church called First Mount Calvary Baptist Church in Baltimore. Um, I would definitely say that it was a huge part of my growing up. Uh, Most of my time was spent there. I did a lot of camp activities there. And I would actually say that a lot of the time that I spent there was positive. I never had like a negative experience with church other than wanting it to be over as a kid. But everything else I really enjoyed. But I would say like my journey through it, I definitely believe everything that I was being not let me say that I didn't believe everything that was being told. I was ready to believe everything that was being told because I felt like it was too positive of an environment for it to be anything but. So once I started to kind of develop into my like adulthood, go through high school, meet different people who thought different things. That's when things started to started to question a little bit of my beliefs. Not entirely. I always had some sort of like spiritual belief that I held to and stuff like that. But other than that, it was essentially like through the Baptist, through friends, and through my education. That's when the journey through it took me.
Okay. Yeah. So what was your experience? Because I when I was in my mid-20s, a while ago now, I got a job that opened up an office in DC, and they were like, just go. We need people. Just go. You'll go. And they were like, oh, we don't have anything set up for you, but we want you to go anyway. You'll work out of the Baltimore office for a little while. And I had never seen the show The Wire.
Oh, really?
So I was unaware. I was unaware. What was your growing up experience? How did that play into religion, if at all?
I would say so. The church that my parents, I wouldn't say my mother still goes to the church, but my father is definitely like deep in the church. He's like a deacon in the church. It was, when you say growing up, do you mean like just
how did the
side of religion?
How did the nature of what Baltimore was like and what is like, how did that affect the church aspect, if at all?
So I see what you, okay. My life in Baltimore was a little bit different than the normal kid. Yes, I grew up in the city, but my parents were like, my mother was a respiratory therapist and my father works in like sports sales. So we were like sort of like above the group, like not the normal we definitely weren't inner city kids. Like we would look like in the city, but in this like pocket of urbanness. You know what I mean? So that wasn't the Baltimore that people think that they see on TV. It wasn't what I was experiencing. I definitely saw people that did experience it, but I don't think that played anything into it other than it definitely being heavily the demographic was much older people. If you want to say that, probably played into it, because a lot of the people that you would sit around and talk to more of the times were older women. So they were deep into the church, just normally like how most African American families would be. So I would say that was definitely like a factor.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say anything specific like that.
Okay, so you at some point you're like, oh, this doesn't quite work. It doesn't make sense for me. What motivates you to then go to do the podcast? What's the motivating factor there? And what subjects do you plan on covering? Is it like mostly secular or?
It's definitely going to be a variety because I'm part of the LGBT association, but it covers those sorts of topics, lots of social injustice, and I feel like that's also a part of, not essentially because I like my life being like in that world didn't start until I was like 19. Like I didn't come out until I was like 19 to my parents. I really didn't do anything like involve myself like in that way until I was 19. But even prior to that, I sort of understood what my life was going to essentially add up to. And those are the sorts of moments when I started to question whether what I was reading and what I used to believe entirely, because to me, when I was a believing Christian, I felt that it was important to believe the entire Bible, not just a piece of it that you liked. So I was like, okay, let's look at everything. Let's see if every part of it matches the way that reality is also set up. And I felt like it wasn't being that way. So like, for instance, I remember a few times asking my parents, or my father specifically, where did dinosaurs come from? And obviously like being a kid and a boy kid at that, that's one of your first thoughts is to say, where are the things that I know or should know to have existed in the sci-fi world? You know what I mean? And also being in the sci-fi world, they kind of try to like categorize it as like nothing or something that can be ignored. And I feel like that's also the reason why I started to question things, because like movies like Land Before Time, like little kid shows like that, it quite makes me think, why were those sorts of creatures not on the ark, or like how could they fit and why didn't they fit and why, like, you know what I mean? So many questions started, I feel like, simply for a movie like that in my childhood. But I don't know. They're just like ramble on something.
No, that's good. But
Reel me back in.
no. Just getting to what the show will entail. Do you
yes. Okay.
plan on having guests? What does it look like?
So basically, it'll definitely surround lots of philosophy topics, kind of like the social injustice, critical thinking, why somebody thinks what they think. Because I want to also give some people a platform to speak on something where they never was able to speak on. Like, for instance, I remember last week I interviewed one of my friends who was excommunicated from his family because he questioned his Jehovah's Witness upbringing.
Oh, you can't do that.
You can't, and immediately, and it was almost shocking to me to see how real it was. Like, because being in my family, like, yeah, it was a little bit of an issue when I came out to my father, but I could not imagine it getting that bad. Like, I could not imagine him saying, "Don't ever call me, don't ever," you know what I mean? That, like, I could, like, to actually have somebody sitting in front of me that I knew for a year at least to say that. I thought that was really shocking. Yeah. But that's one of my real goals, is to give people a place to speak.
Speaking of family, given that you're a non-religious person and you're in the alphabet mafia, as they
right.
How does that play in with the family? Especially with the podcast. Are they aware of the podcast?
They are. I feel like so this is what's interesting is everybody is aware that I do it. I don't think that anybody's ever listened to any episode, which is really frustrating because I feel like for instance, my sister is a chef. I've made her logo. I'll do her like menu, stuff like that. I haven't done a lot of stuff recently, but I'm willing to do whatever I can. But I feel like they wouldn't take the time to listen to this or listen to any of the stuff that I would do in the future. So, especially because I'm a filmmaker, I feel like they wouldn't take the time to listen to that because they know it's probably going to have something to do with these sorts of topics. And I don't know if they want to question their own beliefs, which is weird because I want to question every belief I have. And I feel like it does definitely come into like play. Like, I went home recently and I had a conversation with my father. It was essentially a debate because it started with him saying racism doesn't exist. And it was just like, let's start. Like, I know it's so crazy, but for a man to grow up in the upbringing that he grew up in the inner city, and to say that racism doesn't exist, it is insane. So, but at the end of the conversation, I said, would you listen to anything that I send you that will make you at least think about what you're saying right now? He said, if it's anything that is going to make me go against the Bible, I'm not going to listen to it. So basically what you're telling me is that you're not going to listen to anything I ever do, because that's really what it's going to be about. And it's a lot of other things. Like, we don't really talk about my life in general, and that's another frustrating part. And I don't know, it's just like a lot.
That is interesting. I'm always fascinated by people because I have like zero relationship with my family. I'm always fascinated by secular people who manage to maintain some sort of connection to their family. Yeah. But that is really interesting. So it seems like you compartmentalize a bit. You mostly stay away from divisive topics to maintain that relationship.
Yes and no. So I won't bring it up. However, we're gonna talk about it until the point where you want to leave the room. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing that you can say to me that proves me wrong. However, I have a whole bunch of stuff that can prove you wrong, which is why you want the conversation to end. So like when my father says something like that, like the first thing I said when he said, I was like, I'm just letting you know now, you are not prepared for this conversation. He's like, I'm not prepared. We're not going to debate. And I was like, well, then you are wrong in everything you just said, because you as a black man growing up the way that you grew up, you should understand that racism exists. It isn't racism, it's the devil. See, this is the problem that we have now because you aren't thinking. That is the huge problem that we have right now. Like, I don't know. And then it goes into history, and then it's a lot of stuff that it's just like you aren't even aware of if you choose not to educate yourself.
That's I wanna get into that because recently I feel like YouTube is trying to radicalize me into a very weird direction. I keep getting a lot of videos from anti-feminist women and Black people who are like, racism isn't a thing, you people are programmed. So I'm like, for your father, am I correct to say that I don't even know if it's a fair question to ask you, but based on what you said, is it that he just sees everything as sort of demonic and it's not bad people, it's spirits? Would you say that's...
No, I would hope not, because that would be weird. But like, I don't think he sees, like, I know what you mean, like you're talking about like
as far as racism,
demons in the TV, and this. No, I don't think that. I think that he thinks that the devil is working through people, not in a spiritual, like how can I say this? Yes and no. I feel like he thinks that the devil is influencing people who are choosing not to follow the way of God. And then I don't think it takes it to the point where he thinks that, like, how can I say this? Like hypnosis or something, like some random, like astronomy, those sorts of things. He doesn't take it that far as to say that that's the devil's spirits and stuff like that. I don't think that. If you understand the line that I'm drawing with him, you know what I mean?
Right. That is interesting.
It's I don't know. Like, and then one of the last things he said before he walked up the steps, he said something like, "Humans have only been here for 2,000 years." I was like, "You can go upstairs now." I was like, "That's the end of the conversation because you have no idea what you're talking about."
Even the Bible wouldn't say 2,000.
Yeah, exactly. He's no big thing. Try to like round it up to try to say that that's what he meant to say, like what the Bible says. He said, "We have not been here for billions of years." I was like, "Well, nobody says that." Like,
interesting.
It was really weird. But so with you not being, how do you? Because that was one of my hugest fears, is that happening and me not being able to speak to my family. Like, I don't. Because I feel like my mental state would be like, I'm about to come and attack y'all and burn your house down. Like, because what else are you here for? If that was to happen, why do you think it's okay to? I don't think that would be okay for me to just walk away and be like, well, I feel like I have to fight them.
You mean as far as me not talking to my parents or my family? Well, there was never. I don't. You're sort of. I don't want to make this sound pretentious, but you're American. I don't know how much you know about Jamaicans.
A little bit. Okay. I see where you're going.
Yeah, there were not a lot of hugs. It was never a close situation. So it wasn't like this amazing close bond that was like dramatically shifted. It was always contentious. It was always, this guy. I can only imagine if at 19 I was like, "Hey, mom, dad, I'm gay or I'm transgender or this or that would have been." I don't even know how that would have gone, but even without those things in the mix, it was still, you asked too many questions, you talk back too much. There was never a closeness there. So and I would never. I was about to lie. I was about to say that I would never tell someone that they shouldn't. They should distance themselves from their families, but because there are some people who should distance themselves from their families. But it's a hard calculation to make. But for me, it was easy. I was never close to my sort of extended family. My cousins were in high school when I was in elementary school, so that wasn't really a thing. And my immediate family is just a flaming pile of garbage. So yeah, so it's a calculation for everyone, and for me, I'd rather have a BN family, Black non-believers and a secular family than people who are just have the worst opinions, just the absolute worst. I remember
they have to be.
Yeah, not to make it all about me, but I remember I remember when they legalized gay marriage in New York, the governor of New Jersey went on like TV or the radio, and he said he wouldn't allow it in Jersey. And I remember my mother's words were, well, at least he's good for something. Meaning, well, she doesn't like his politics, but he's discriminating against the gays, so he's good for something. And it's just like,
I think that's so weird too. Like in even a person that's not religious. I remember when I was living in Maryland.
In Maryland,
I know. I can't help it. I feel like I'd be so much country than people think, and I'd be so much more city than people think at the same time. It's insane.
I remember when I moved to DC for the first year and a half, I died at that accent.
Whoa.
Just died. It was just like,
no, that's different. Like, that's insane.
Like going to the Maryland area
DC,
on Saturday.
like, can I get a solid? I don't say that. I say salad. But
but yeah, sorry to interrupt.
But I don't know. But oh my God, what was I saying?
I derailed it. Sorry.
Oh no! So I remember when I was like on the bus, and just in general, like I've noticed a lot of because Maryland has a huge population of Black people in it, and I noticed that they still are religious people, even though they don't do anything that what you would say what a Christian would do. But I remember sitting on the bus, and one of the guys was like, he's like, I don't believe gay marriage is right and all this other stuff. And he's like, because the Bible said it. Not that I read the Bible, I just know that it says it. I was just like, see, this is the problem, even right here. The fact that, and a huge part of it is that you are already in the environment that accepts it. You're sort of on the line of a person that fits the mold of a Christian because your family believes it. You're a straight Black man. So it's not many things that you do differently than what the Bible says, other than trying to like have sex before you're married. But other than that, like there's not much that you do differently. So you sort of believe it because you fit it easily. And I think that's so weird to not even think about why you believe something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's the most important. It's the word of the creator of the universe, the most important book ever written, but they just haven't read it yet.
Yeah, and it should have every answer you need, and you haven't read it.
Yeah, it's very odd. So back to the actual podcast. What are some of your goals for the podcast? What are you looking to sort of accomplish? What lane are you sort of taking with that?
I would definitely want it to be some a step above a hobby. I like what the audience and the topics and the things that I talk about on the podcast, because I have a lot of things that roll around in my mind that I would like to hear a different perspective on, or whatever it is. So, like, obviously, like if it does become monetized, great. But what I like doing is what's happening now is talking about what I am thinking about with people who want to talk back about it. And I've noticed that only a few people in my life has ever done that, and I like that it's happening now more. So I would say genuine goal that, and obviously like to expand to other people, get some more people on, talk to other people about different things.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay. Any but definitely sci-fi conversations coming up in there.
I'm going to try. A lot of the stuff that I talk about keeps reverting back to this, and I feel like it's because it's in the stages of beginning. So I kind of keep going back to it because I haven't fully got it all out yet. So yes, it will be, but I still have a lot to say about this sort of topic.
Okay. I think it crosses over, like with, especially with, I mean, the whole point of sci-fi is to reflect society, like with X-Men and like racism, or a story like Stargate, like we were saying before, with religion and how that portrays religion. So it always comes back comes back to that. But yeah, we should, if you're ever looking for a guest for your show, I know of pretty handsome guy in New York who wouldn't mind being a guest on your show.
Is his name Kevin?
It sounds something like that, definitely. Definitely sounds something like that.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. So when is the podcast on, and where can people find it?
It is at Virtual Reality Podcast on Instagram, and then I have a Wix website. I haven't like got the domain yet, but it's on there. Podbean is where I host it. Amazon Prime, Google. Where's another? I think it's on one more, but I mean it's on the major ones. Everybody can find it on that.
Okay, cool.
Yes, this will be interesting.
Yeah. I'm not the only host or organizer, rather. You can have on the show our DC affiliate, Ro. He actually does a podcast as well, where we're headed podcast. He'd be a great guest also. Yeah, just something to think about.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I actually have been a guest on Joseph podcast. So so that should be an upcoming episode in the near future.
Yeah, that is cool.
I don't know, but what else? Because I have a history wise.
Oh man, yeah. So, was there anything else you wanted people to know about the podcast itself?
Not necessarily. I would. No, actually, is one thing I would like to hear people's questions. Like, what do they want to know from me? Like, so I would like people to send questions if they want. Send me questions about topics that they want to hear about. You know what I mean? So that at least it can be a little bit more involved. So I want to do more live broadcasts. So it's a huge part, and I would like people to be involved in that. But definitely that.
And how personal does it get? How much of yourself are you putting out there?
You can ask me whatever. Because I also want people to ask questions to a person that will answer, and to questions that they've always wanted to know. So why not?
Yeah. Okay. That it sounds like a great podcast. I've never, I haven't heard it yet, but I'm definitely willing to check that out. I'm always looking for something interesting to look for, and I agree with your sentiment on having different kinds of conversations. It's very difficult to find people to have certain types of conversations with. It's like
it is.
It's like, who do you go to for this? Because in a day-to-day, I mean, that's why I started running the meetup group. In a day-to-day, it's like, who do you have this idea, you have this thought, you have this sort of situation from your past. It's like, who are you talking to about this? You know,
right?
Your friend, you're telling me about your friend with the Jehovah's Witness thing. It's like, that is extremely isolating. You know, like where do you go? Who do you talk to? Your friend has you, but I don't know how many.
He told me that I was the only person who's ever really talked about it too, besides his girlfriend, who also was one of the other excommunicates. But it's crazy.
Yeah. So this is why I'm glad to have you on the show, and I'm glad you're doing the podcast. It's good. It's really good to build these types of communities and have places where people can go to talk about these things. Because if not for people like yourself and Mandisa starting stuff like this, I don't know where people would go with that. I don't know what I'd be doing right this second if not for the meetup group. But yeah, it's a great community. Are you planning any sort of, you talked about doing more live things. Are you planning any sort of, I know we just came off of COVID, are you planning any sort of organizational things, in-person meetup type vibes?
Not for this. I do have a few other business ideas. I wanted to start a nonprofit film studio, but that probably would sort of tie into this. Not necessarily, probably would tie into podcasting in general, but maybe not this sort of topic. But other than that, no, not really. Okay, I would like to get into the things that y'all are doing, like the Black Nonbelievers and things with the atheist experience and stuff like that. That I would fully be ready to do.
Okay, cool. There's a lane for that. I think that we need more colored faces doing that kind of thing. But you spoke about your film experience. I know you said you did go to film school. What type, what genre? Do you have anything out now that you want people to check out, or that you've worked on? Or I know it's difficult making movies, which is why I did not go to film school. So, but is there anything? What's the genre? What's going on with that?
I would say I would not want people to see the stuff that is out. No, actually, one thing I would say, if you want to see, this is one of my sort of, it was years ago, but I would say it's like good enough for people to see, but it's called ESP. So if you type in ESP pilot in YouTube, you'll find it. But it's about this. The boy is a mute, and at the end of the episode, he gets electrocuted, and he's able to like read minds. He becomes a telepath, basically. So I think it's an interesting idea if people was to give me more money for it. But it was sort of like, it was really, really low budget. Like it was like $1,000 per tour, but it's all right. It's made.
Okay.
But no, I need to make something else though. I have some things in the writings though.
Okay, that's interesting. It sounds good. I'll definitely check it out. I think everybody's embarrassed of a lot of their work, but I think there are a lot of great stories out there that people are probably embarrassed of. So I wouldn't sweat it too much. There's lots of good stuff out there. I don't know if you've seen. I just saw the other day. I don't know if it's your vibe, but I just saw the other day they're remaking Quantum Leap. No,
actually no, but I do know what the show is about, like sort of about, because I'm a bartender in Las Vegas, and I have a drink book that goes through TV shows. I use Quantum Leap for the letter Q. I know.
Okay.
So random. I just be like doing everything, but yeah, that's the only thing I know about it is the drink I made for it.
It's such an interesting vibe. I've only seen like clips of the original, but it's a really interesting vibe. I'm looking forward to checking it out. It's a lot of remakes these days. I know they did a fantasy. They did a Fantasy Island reboot, which was like, I don't know if that was necessary, but it was cutesy. But yeah,
I can't do the remakes like the She-Hulk. Even though I heard it was good, I just can't. I don't want to.
Yeah, the Marvel thing has been other than Loki, it's been very disappointing to me as far as TV goes. And also Hulk was, I mean, not Hulk, Thor was a little like I guess we just don't get. It's like the Star Trek thing where like there's no good odd number Star Treks, they say, or is it even number? I don't know. There's no good odd number Thor movies, I guess.
I feel like this decade, this is the decade of
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, but anyway, before I let you go, the podcast is Virtual Reality. It's on Podbean. It's available on Google Podcasts. It's also available on your Wix site.
Yeah, Wix. I think it's Virtual Reality Podcast. I think it's all the same. I kind of like saved it off of that. Most literally, probably the only thing called that in the world.
Yeah, I think people at this point, people are savvy enough to like type in virtual reality. Virtue.
Yeah, once you see it, at least understand you're not just typing, because if you type in virtual reality, the entire world will come up. But if you only type in virtual reality, that will come up.
You want to type in VIRTUE reality, right, and people can definitely find it there. Oh, yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to promote while we have you?
I was gonna say something so crazy. No.
I mean, if you want to say it.
No,
we're here for it.
There was nothing like, but no, I would say definitely critical thinking is one of my biggest things. Like as a philosophy major, that is like one of the biggest things in my thinking now, in my upbringing, everything is to, even if you want to throw on some crazy off the wall thing, boil it down with critical thinking and you can explain it to anybody. You know what I mean? So go with that and you'll be good.
Yeah. Some people just don't seem to like to think, which I find odd. It's just like, it's weird.
Because even if you think about something random, like if you're like, let's say like critical thinking either will bring you to the understanding of its reality or of its non-reality. So if you leave it at that, you should be fine.
Yeah, some people from not to go on and on, but from what I've seen recently, some people just, they get a vibe and they're either with it or they're not. There's never like a point for them where they're like, what's the upside? What's the upside to this? What's the downside? Does this make sense? Is this rational? And they're just like, it either clicks with them or it doesn't. And I think that's probably the type of conversations that you're going to be having on your show. But yeah. But yeah, I want to thank you for being on the show. It was great. I'm going to check out the podcast and hopefully wait for that invitation to be a guest.
I shall send you.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You don't have to.
Oh no, you will. And I remember, and it's also my accent. Like every name I say with an I, like Devin, Kevin, it all sounds the same. And Devon, it's so hard. Like you'll see it. But
no worries. I know about that DMV life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mandisa.
Let me unmute. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show, Joseph. We definitely look forward to the development of your podcast and definitely working together to see how we can cross promote and help bring you more into the community so that you can look, so that you can get to the shows that you want to get to. You definitely have, that support here with Black Nonbelievers. So let's continue to work together.
All right.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for having me. This was great.
Thanks. We need more, definitely still need more Black voices in the space.
Absolutely. And the best way to do that is for us to continue to promote each other and make sure that we're working together most of all, because, this space can be very, very challenging at times to, for folks who are looking to get into, the podcasting world or, the content, to be a content creator or want to be a content creator. And, that's really a good thing. We love to help people promote that. But yeah, it has to be that, folks are putting in the work and, that we're continuing to build for a better community, that there's just so much involved with that. But that's one of the reasons why we do this show is to, feature those folks who are up and coming and, so that we can help get them out there and we can continue to, again, work with them and hopefully they can expand into the broader community. So this is a part of what we do and that we've been doing for the past 11 years. That tends to be really underrated at times. So, I think you're muted, Kevon.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying we need more high level like Mandisa Thomases out there. We need more like sort of it's a bad comparison, more Richard Dawkins level, Sam Harris level Black people out there. So not as far as their politics, but as far as their notoriety out there. So people can stop automatically associating Black people with religion. It'd be nice to if people were like, oh, Black people are religious, people would go, no, there's Mandisa Thomas, there's this other person, there's this other,
there's also Kevon Cameron and there's Tina Marshall, folks who are on the front line with me doing this work. So yes, please don't count yourself out. Y'all know that
nobody knows who I am.
A good thing. Oh, stop it. Well, they will, especially once we get to these announcements. So let's go ahead and take that away.
So we have coming up. First, I want to thank Joseph for being on the show. You can check out the Virtue VIRTUE Reality podcast. It's available on Amazon, Apple, Google Podcasts, and on Podbean. Also follow the Virtue Reality Podcast on Instagram. That's Virtue Reality Podcast. That's at Virtual Reality Podcast, and Joseph's personal account, which is Joseph Campbell _ the Explorer. So check that out when you can. Also, as I mentioned in the interview, our Black Nonbelievers also has a podcast. It's produced by our DC affiliate. You can check out the Where We're Headed podcast. That's available on Podbean. We'll have that link up for you as well. It's the Where We're Headed podcast. Check it out.
And now for some upcoming events. This is the fall event conference convention season, and we here at Black Nonbelievers and the community are here for it. So the first one that I'd like to tell y'all about is the Recovering from Religion Fall Excursion. If you are in or near Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, that's Gatlinburg, Sevierville, where Dollywood is. There's a whole bunch of attractions there. There's still time to register for the fall excursion produced by Recovering from Religion. I will be there. I will be hosting the annual karaoke session. Candace Gorham will also be there, and Daryl Ray. There's going to be an amazing activities, weekend of education, fun, and healing from September 23rd to the 25th. The link is being posted in the chat if you would still like to be a part of that. So please make sure you do. Let's help kick off the fall event season the right way.
And of course, as Mandisa mentioned earlier, Women of Color Beyond Belief is just 2 weeks away. You can join us in Chicago or virtually. A live streaming is available from September 30th through October 2nd. Speakers include Cynthia McDonald, Nadia Dutchins, Andrea Hall, Tiffany Green, and more. Student discounts are, of course, available, and sponsorship opportunities as well. We'll have to link up for you in just a second for that. Also, we've teamed up, as Mindy said, with Go Humanity for the Secure the Bag Part 2 at the conference. Join us as we pack meals to feed thousands of families in the greater Chicago area. Registration for the conference is not required to participate, but is strongly encouraged. Donations are needed to fund this event for this project. So please give generously via Facebook and the Give Lively links that we're going to provide for you in just 1 second.
Awesome. And after Women of Color Beyond Belief, almost immediately after Women of Color Beyond Belief, please join us for California Free Thought Day. Kevon will be one of the speakers this year. And BN is a sponsor, and we will be tabling out there as well. It is a free event that you can register for. Of course, all of our conferences and our organizations are asking for support, but you can register for that event at no charge to stream and to attend in person in Sacramento. Also, Nadia Dutchin, the executive director of the American Humans Association, and others will be speaking there. But yes, please do, please do join us for that event as well. They are one of the sponsors for Women of Color Beyond Belief, along with Freedom from Religion Foundation, the American Humans Association, American Atheists, and others. And you can find that information on our website as well. So we appreciate the reciprocity and support for our events. And so we want to make sure that we're supporting them, especially when they are featuring some of our wonderful organizers and leaders like Kevon. So we definitely want to make sure that continues. And also, finally, while the official registration for BNCCon 2022 has ended, you can still join us if you would like. We will be sailing on the Carnival Spirit from November 27th to December 3rd, and we have a pre-cruise event on November 26th. Speakers include Dr. Sabrina Dent, myself, Jenna Miyu, who will be joining us virtually now, and more. So if you would like to still attend BNCCon at the end of November, you are more than welcome to do so. We are looking forward to a fantastic cruise this year. And I hope for everyone who is signed up or who is interested, we hope you are as well.
Okay. Unless there's something else, Mandisa?
That was it. Just support Women of Color Beyond Belief. Support all of the events that we just told you about. And Kevon, I will leave it to you to close.
All right, that wraps up our show. Thank you so much for checking out In the Cut. Just as a reminder, we do stream the show every first and third Saturday of the month. Please don't forget to like and spread the word with this video. Our next episode is going to be at the Women of Color Conference in Chicago. So don't miss that at all. You can, of course, follow us on Facebook at BlackNonbelievers, Instagram at BNonbelievers Inc., and Twitter's at BNonbelievers, capital B, capital N. And subscribe to us on YouTube. Find a BN affiliate near you for the meetup groups and join them. And finally, learn more and make a tax-deductible donation at the BlackNonbelievers.org/donate. Thank you to everyone who has supported the summer fundraising drive. And you can also represent BN even more if you want to get our swag, our t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, shot glasses, etc. So I have a shot glass myself by checking out the BN store. We'll have that link up for you as well. Until next time, take care and see you later. Bye.